Darth Vader is a very scary thing when it comes to Star Wars. And Aaron and I are going to give our top choices for our scariest things in Star Wars.
Yes. What are the scariest things in Star Wars?
First, I think we need to talk about your standard. Like, what is scary to you? And, like, what do you consider, like, horrifying?
I tried to put a little bit of everything in here because I have things from, like, this is a real just scary moment to this might not be scary for me, but I can see this being scary for other people especially. Sure. So some of those might be a little bit lower on the list. I have one especially that I guarantee is not on any list you made.
Ooh, a challenge.
I think.
Okay.
I'm 99% certain that it is not on your list.
I'll go first, and I'll just cheat and say the Wookiee toddler scene from Death Troopers.
Damn it, that was the one I didn't. No.
In that I'm not kidding. Like if I'm trying to create my standard for what is scary, it's how does something make me feel, and do I feel fear or disgust or sadness? I felt all of those things more than anything else I've read watched in Star Wars. So that's like, it's almost my number one is how bad it was for me.
Gotcha.
But it's also because Wookiees are kind of coded to be like your dog. You know, like Indiana was Lucas's dog, and that's what he bases.
I thought Han was a dog.
No. Chewie thinks of him like a dog. But in terms of like Chewie's utilization and vocalization and the way that Han looks at him, I always kind of consider, Wookiees. I mean, yes, they're thinking beings and stuff, but as a dog owner, it was just a really hard thing to watch, to check out. So that would be my cheating one, and not something that I'll really go into hardcore because we already talked about it.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My first one I went with, especially when I'm younger, but I think even now, the scariness of like, if there's like, say, a foot of water and you can't really see into it, do you want to walk into it? Why not?
My socks will get wet.
That's the only reason?
At the very least.
Yeah.
That's enough to avoid it. But there could be rusty nails in there. There could be
an alligator.
An alligator.
Or a Dianaga.
A Dianaga.
Yeah.
Just trash that can get into an infected wound.
My first one I picked was trash compactor. 'Cause I think overall the scene, like, being in a trash compactor is like a scary idea that you're going to be crushed, but just what happens with Luke, and I remember like being younger and being like, whoa, what's that eyeball popping out? What's that thing?
Yeah, when I was young, the eyeball freaked me out.
Yeah. So like,
I'd hide from the eyeball.
Yeah. So
yeah, you watch it as an adult, you're like, that's cool. But I watched it when I was a kid. I was like, ah! But I did the same thing with like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I was scared of that.
Oh, yeah, right. And they had like the episode where like the furnace is gonna eat you.
Exactly.
You know? Like, oh
dude,
god,
like,
no.
Goosebumps scared me. Jesus.
So no, my first one I have on my list, and I tried to also when I first started going through, I felt like I had a lot of original trilogy stuff, which I was surprised by.
Okay. And
I was like, no, I want to pull from a little bit of everything that I can.
I pulled from almost not many movies.
Not many movies. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, some, but I pulled a lot.
All right. Well, yeah. So the trash compactor, I think, is a scary scene.
A good one.
I mean, there's the water that you don't know what's under there, which there's a Dianaga, and you get to see a little bit of an eye and tentacles, and you still don't know what it is. And then you're gonna get crushed. Like, it's a terrible place to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's scary in a few ways. Claustrophobia, just what's under the water. Yeah. I remember playing Shadows of the Empire and getting to see what's under the water, and it's scary, Eric. Scary.
I remember.
Terrifying.
I played it. It's terrifying. It's also from C-3PO's point of view. I mean, luckily he's a robot. He can't deal with that trauma. He's like, oh, listen to them R2. They're dying in there. Curse my metal body. I wasn't fast enough, Oh, yeah. We didn't really talk about it, but there's you mentioned waste.
Waste, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, back to the book.
Back in the book, I just wanted to really quickly talk about it. I loved that what Waste saw was so terrifying and so illogical, it broke him. It broke his robot programming. Like, he could not. Like, he was like, oh, a miracle happened, at one point. But it was really because what he was seeing was so horrifying. It did not make sense.
Dude,
and that can destroy a droid's programming. I loved it.
The scene where, like, she picks up the head and is trying, I love that. Yeah. Though, I love also when she's in the med bay over at the Star Destroyer and is about to get taken out by something. And Waste saves her. But it's another one of the med.
It's the payoff of the term of endearment part of it. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I also love that part. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I think in that same vein, because I'm trying to go from like least scary to scariest or whatever. I remember being a kid and being terrified of the Han and carbonite scene.
Okay.
I really do. I think that scene. I mean, it has to appeal to all ages, of course, right? It's
Yeah.
the Star Wars original trilogy. It can't be so scary that young kids can't watch it. It can't be, so kiddie that, adults are getting bored or whatever. But I mean, I have very, very clear memories of like being sad, scared, and confused when I saw Harrison Ford's face in Carbonite.
Sure.
Like, that
yeah.
was more scary to me than how scary Darth Vader was. Because when I was a
Yeah.
kid, I'm like, Darth Vader's cool. you
Like,
know?
what's that do for like claustrophobia? Where like
Yeah.
people are afraid of being locked in a coffin.
Yeah.
Imagine being locked like in
You might.
stone. You know what I mean?
Right, because there's a part of me that's like, my fear of being eaten is also part of claustrophobia too, like being stuck
inside and you can't
pressed in
move.
on all sides.
Yeah, like he is
Yeah.
stuck there and can't move, but I guess he's not aware of it either. I don't know.
Yeah, but still, I don't know why, but like I was just trying to think of like what are some things that scared me, and I have such a clear memory of the carbonite scene just scaring the crap out of me when I was a boy. So,
All right,
that's my getting into scariness.
gotcha.
Yeah.
My next one, we actually talked about it last time, so I was like, I don't know if I want to put it on here or not.
Okay.
But we had a Vader one that we did.
The best Vader moments.
Yeah, which I think there's a lot of like really good Vader moments. This one I think is one of the scariest Vader moments because I relate it to being kind of like watching a horror movie and you see like what this monster or whatever thing can do.
Yeah.
It was the Kenobi village.
Yeah.
I think is one of the scary. Like I thought about like the Vader hallway, and I'm like rewatching it because I watched it before when I was doing this list, and like the one guy's like, "Oh help!" Like I'm like, that guy's scared, you know?
It's scary, but it also has, at least for me, it's also like fucking sweet.
Sure, yeah. But like I remember the first time watching the Kenobi village and Vader coming through, and like he just doesn't care. He's grabbing people, dragging. There's people screaming, and I was just like, I can't believe that Disney's doing this. This is so scary, you know. And I think that's a like for a Vader moment, I think it's one of the scariest Vader moments. Like
Agreed.
We talked about like Fallen Order when he shows up, and it's like, oh man, that's it's scary because he's coming and stuff, and you can't do anything about Vader. But this one, you're watching what he does, and he does not care, and no one here can do anything. Yeah. And
this is the only time that you see him, and he's not like he's just being cruel. Like yeah, he has a reason he's doing it. He almost always has a reason that he does those things. But this one's like the most cruel. It's not like I'm taking out this guy because he's incompetent. It's like I'm torturing these people to draw out a Jedi.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. I didn't put it on my list just because, like we said, we talked about it last week. It's the only reason it's not on there. But it would be if I hadn't recently talked about it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and Nexus is right. Yeah, the woman screaming on Mapuzo as she's being dragged is blood curdling.
It is.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Aaron, and I'm going to go with something that I think is frightening for different reasons than just like fear. It is Spider Leg Maul.
Oh, okay.
I find Spider Leg Maul to be terrifying. Maybe more terrifying if it was in live action.
I get you.
Having that movement on like a live action thing would be even crazier. Animation can kind of soften the blow of fear for me. But just the idea and the state that he's in, and we know how long it's been. It's been 10 years. He's been in this state for 10 years, the craziness, the manic episodes that Sam Witwer like performs as him, like it's a scary moment. It's also a moment that is very loaded for a lot of people because a lot of people are anticipating, oh my God, we saw Maul in the crystal ball and he's coming back and he's not dead from episode 1. It's going to be sweet, right? And then it's just, he comes out and he's a Spider-Man,
Yeah.
It's also something from Legends, a design from Legends that I also enjoyed. But I just, I think I was trying to find some good Clone Wars representation, and I thought that would be a good one. Crazy spider leg maul, I find quite terrifying.
I had that one at number 3.
Damn, was that the one that you think was on my list?
Nope.
Damn it.
Nope, that's not the one I didn't think was on your list.
That's your number 3, though.
That's my number 3. No, I really enjoyed that one, too.
Yeah.
Not so much even showing him, but, like, in that moment, you have Savage, who's been dropped in this hole, right? And he's, like, walking through. He doesn't know exactly where he's at. And just, like, you get little shadow glimpses, and it's, like, moving away. And it's that buildup. It's one of those kind of moments that I know Melanie hates because it's, like, what is coming and what's around the corner and what am I going to see? And then you get to see him, and then like it's like what is this? What is left of this man, kind of thing. Madness. And then you get into you get into a little bit more of a psychological thing.
That's what goes on in here. That's hard.
But everything before that of him, before he even sees him being down in there, I think it's just a scary moment of because he's looking for his brother, but that snake just betrayed him, and I don't think he necessarily knows exactly where he's at, or what is down here with him, know. So I didn't necessarily know what we were going to find right away when we were down there. I knew he was looking for his brother, but this felt like, I forget what he says. Say hello to the beast? I don't know what he says to him, but something like that.
It's time for my leftovers.
Yeah, when he comes back, he says that part. So, no, I thought that one was a real, scary moment, especially from Clone Wars.
Definitely. Okay. Well, what's your next one then?
My next one was from Mandalorian. It is the frog episode when they get stuck in the ice cavern.
You're talking about Chapter 10, The Passenger?
Did you put that on your list too? The being trapped in the ice is already terrifying.
Underground. In the cavern.
Right?
Yep.
That's one of your fears, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's terrible. Now, toss in little and giant spiders chasing after you.
They're almost exactly the same looking spiders from Rebels. Those ones don't bug me. These ones bug me. They bug me. You know why? They look real. They look like real moving at me. I don't want that.
Rebels doesn't look quite as real because it's a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
But these things look like they're chasing the Mandalorian. And then you get back to your ship and you can't go anywhere and they're going to eat you.
Oh, my God. I don't want to be eaten.
Yeah, that's right. That's a fear of yours, right?
I feel like it's a healthy fear that most beings on the planet should have. Not even, conscious ones. Because everything gets eaten. That's how we transfer energy.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Sometimes it's cruel. You. But yes, they are the knobby white spiders, Aaron.
Knobby white spiders.
Now, the cool thing about those spiders, so that was, obviously you have the ones that are on the Rebel base one, and they're all based off a concept art piece that Ralph McQuarrie did for Empire Strikes Back. That tall head spider thing comes from Ralph McQuarrie's paintbrush. And in Legends, that a gnarl tree, which Yoda lives in a gnarl tree on Dagobah. In Legends, the early life cycle of a gnarl tree is that spider.
Oh,
isn't that nuts?
So the spider turns into that tree.
Yoda
eventually?
Lives in an old spider in Legends.
In Legends,
I'm saying Legends is full of crazy stuff.
That's a cool idea.
But
I guess
it's that thing has been from a Ralph McQuarrie art piece that never made it into the movie has been brought into the story 3 separate times. Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
No, it's cool. I love it. I love how they reuse Ralph McQuarrie's art. He has great art.
He's responsible for so much. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. That one's they're called the Krykna spiders on Atollon, which is the Rebel ones.
It's Rebel base.
Yeah, and then there was the gnarl tree early phase spiders, and then apparently there's also spice spiders of Tall, which are also using that same. But that was a Legends thing as well.
Gotcha.
So, there's 2 Legends things, but
okay.
It's happened a couple of times. But in the Mandalorian, the ice ones, little baby Yoda, it's scary. It has an element of fantasy too. I think Shelob in Lord of the Rings is scary.
Yeah,
but I'm not insects don't really bother me as much as some other things, So I'm always it's scary, it's okay. But when you watch it with someone that like Jancy hates spiders, it's terrifying.
Yeah,
So
that's a scary thing.
Yeah,
fear's big.
Fear is one of my favorite emotions to contemplate because it's so visceral and it's so different for people.
Yeah. Imagine being afraid of just spiders in general, right? They're this big maybe, or tarantula is a bigger, but now it's bigger than you. How terrifying would that be? It's terrifying.
Yeah. What did you do?
I don't know. Eat it.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the.
If you're afraid of being eaten, I'm gonna eat it, so it's afraid of me.
It gave so many ways to kill. It was given so many ways to kill you. What do I got? Fist?
Yeah, your teeth.
Am I gonna bite it?
Yes. Do
the
that.
Spider?
Bite it.
I think it's gonna bite me first.
It might, but get on the back. It can't bite its butt. I don't know. All right. Is it you or me next then?
I believe it's me.
All right.
I'm going to go with because we did do that one, so you've picked some of mine. I'm gonna go. This is an interesting one. I do find this actually quite terrifying. Palpatine's ability to hide in plain sight.
Oh,
now this is less this is less horror and more like, hey, this type of stuff happens.
Okay.
Like Palpatine is the devil, and he can sit in a room with the angels, and you have no idea he's there.
Okay.
You know, like scary. The scariest things for me are the unknown. It's like a horror movie is most scary before they reveal what the secret is. You know, so it's just when I think about leaders or mentors in my life, like especially with Anakin. Like Anakin is a slave. He has a slave's mentality. No one cares about him, and what you have is yours, and you have to defend it fiercely. You know, and someone like Palpatine can take such an innocent outlook and warp it to become a fascist monster. You know, a zombie, if you will.
If you will.
Like I find that to be terrifying because it's the most, I feel like, common threat that George Lucas is like, hey, look out for that. Like people will lie to you. People will steal from you. They'll do that, and you won't even notice. You won't even know until it's too late. And sometimes some of us don't even get that far.
Sure, yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
But like Palpatine's ability he's the most powerful character like in the galaxy, and he can just confidently sit in front of the other most powerful person in the galaxy, and you'll never know. I find that to be like more terrifying than spiders to me.
Okay.
I can deal with a
I get what
spider.
you mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the idea of like, I mean, serial killers can just be walking around and you don't know they're a serial killer kind of thing, right? Like it's one of those kind of ideas. Like
I mean, every vicious dictator in the world had people that supported them and thought like they have really good ideas. Like they're not going to go that far, right? Of course they wouldn't go that far. It's like, hey, they went that far and they used you to get there. It's like what's that feeling? Like I find that feeling to be terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Like stuff like that like fuels my skepticism. Where I'm like, hey, do you want to support a canon? It's like as much as I can, but what if they're Palpatine?
What if they're Palpatine? Who knows? All right. No. Okay. I get what you mean then.
I find that to be horrifying. That's mine.
Well, my next one can kind of go with that.
Okay.
It is, you're talking about like when the things you don't know until now you know what it is. Mine is from Empire Strikes Back, and it is the Wampa, where especially the original version. Later on, you get more viewing points of what it looks like. But in the original one, things are so fast. It's hands, it's bodies. You hear the eating. You see the stuff it's eating. Like
there's like a mass of red.
Yeah, like there's just like this, like what exactly is this creature, and it kind of plays a lot on that idea of like what are you picturing with this. Later on, they kind of come back and they give you more of like what a Wampa looks like. But I think like even building up to seeing what it is, there's so many aspects of like glimpses into this creature, and Luke's just stuck in this another ice thing, and trying to escape and can't, and then it's coming at you, and you can't do anything. You have to hurry up and get out, and luckily he has the Force.
You know the canon reason how a Wampa sticks him to the ceiling?
Spit.
Yeah, it's a combination of hot breath and frozen spit. Yeah. Don't eat me. Eat something else, Jesus.
What do you mean? It's an ice planet. There's not much to eat. He was already eating the tauntaun, I think.
He was eating the tauntaun. He was saving Luke for later.
Yeah.
He was keeping him fresh.
Well, he was like a snack. He was a little...
Yeah.
No,
that's terrifying. Anything they eat you is scary.
I guess so. Yeah, like you're right, Gonk. It is scary.
But we got some spider art sent to us by Nexus. Is that what you're wanting? Is that what you're wanting, Gonk? The spider art?
Spider art. Look at that. That is.
Yeah, cool.
That is gnarly.
That is super gnarly, yeah.
Is that what turns into the gnarl tree?
Maybe.
This gnarly spider?
Yeah, gotcha. That's the spice spider of Toll. But you can see the big head.
Okay.
It's the same shape.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so
yeah, Empire, Wampa, I think it's scary. I think even like going into times, I think a Wampa just in general is scary. Like playing Shadows of the Empire, there's some Wampas that show up there. Every time a Wampa I had to deal with a Wampa, it's just scary. I think any time I've ever been in like a Star Wars game and had to deal with a Wampa, it's scary. Like Jedi.
Yeah.
Like if there's something Wampa or Wampa-like, it's a scary thing to have to fight.
It definitely is. And I hate their sounds. Like that has that distant thing. Is fuck, man.
So, but yeah, Wampas.
Okay. I will raise you. This will
okay.
be my last fear of consumption, being consumed. I don't have.
Do I have any more fears of consumption? I don't really have any more fears. Maybe one.
Yeah, mine is the Sarlacc pit.
Oh.
The Sarlacc pit can digest you for 1,000 years, and you might say, "Well, I mean, I'll die before that, and my body will, I guess, not." But no, that thing, like, takes your mind and it brings it into its hive mind, and you are aware of those 1,000 years.
That sounds terrible.
It's terrible.
I know I did that. I thought I was just sitting there, just slowly being digested. Like,
I was thinking about this, and I rewatched the opening of Book of Boba Fett, and the Book of Boba Fett, because I went into it knowing that I'm seeing this because he has to get out of this. I know when I'm watching it, it's like, no big deal. He's going to get out of this thing. And he does, you know? But in a rewatch, I have to just kind of sit there and be like, what would this be like? Because he got out pretty quick in the show. In Legends, he went in there a couple times. And there was one time he was in there for like 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Dang.
5 years, dude. Like,
don't go in there anymore.
But again, it's that feeling of like, you know, compression at all points, you know, being like stuck, being digested, your energy being stolen from you to fuel something else, you know. It's just it's such a primal fear that I have, and I feel like the Sarlacc is like the worst one. Because I mean, you know, in our world, what's the worst thing that's going to eat you? Like a bear, maybe, because they don't care if you're alive or not, you know, like that sucks.
It's like the idea of the Wampa. The Wampa's going to eat you, but like you're going to get eaten and it's done.
But it's not going to last a week. It's not going to last a fortnight. It's not going to last a millennia.
No.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't.
Right?
Okay. No.
Yeah. So
I mean, if I'm aware of that, that makes it so much more worse.
Yeah, it's real bad. But I was looking up. I'm like, I remember reading about this. Like, yeah, that thing actually, it's not that your body stays there for 1,000 years. Your mind does too. And you're aware, and you become part of the Sarlacc.
Dang. Or do you get to take over a tentacle or anything?
I don't think so.
That'd be nice.
I
want my own tentacle.
I think it literally uses your consciousness to give itself consciousness.
I'm going to give him indigestion if he doesn't give me at least a tentacle.
Yeah. What's it even need energy for? All it does is eat.
Wait, and it's just a hole.
It's just a hole.
I guess it digs down looking for like, I don't know what it does. I don't know.
What net good does it do?
It goes deep, right?
It's Tatooine, you know? This ain't doing anything for the environment.
No.
Sand everywhere.
I don't know.
As we know, sand sucks.
It does.
Of course, it's irritating. It gets everywhere.
All right.
Sarlacc pit.
Well, my last, I think, digesting related one then, is also from Empire. Which is, you know where I'm going now?
Maybe.
Yeah. It is when we're looking for the Minox.
Minox, okay.
Right? There's the Minox. First
I
off,
thought you were talking about Yoda's food.
No, not Yoda's food.
Minox.
The Minox already give like a jump scare, right? Inside the Falcon. Like, they do that and you know, go away, you things.
Yeah.
You know, there's that whole thing. And there's this scary, like people don't, you know, people are afraid of bats and flying things in general.
They're so big.
And they're so freaky and scary and stuff too.
I hate that one. It's just like a massive, like, you know, oh my god, and it's just a shot of just like a crew member just hitting somebody with wings. Oh man.
But like they go out and like it's when they get outside there and they're looking for the Minox and it's like foggy and weird and creepy and stuff too.
Doesn't feel like rock.
And then you find out that you're inside something even worse than Minox that are in here. You know,
there's no cave.
Yeah, like I think
that's pretty scary.
I think the Minox jump scare is great. I think the Minox are just a scary looking kind of creature, especially how big they are. But then the fact that you're inside something else is also just terrible. Like you're already in there.
Yeah.
You thought you were safe. Mm-hmm. You went in here to get cover, and now you're going to get eaten.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has like the action-adventure tone to it because John Williams saw that scene and was like, this is fun, you know? But like, John Williams could have had a bad day and be like, this is scary. And that could have been
imagine
worse.
giving it a different, different soundtrack.
Yeah, dude.
Doom, doom.
The Exogorth.
Doom, doom. You're already in the monster, and you don't even know it.
All right, I like that one. That's a good one.
That was my next one.
Okay.
I should be done with digestion now. So.
All right. I'm also done with original trilogy and prequel trilogy.
Ah.
So I'm going to go to the decraniated. Do you know what the decraniated is?
I don't know what you're saying.
This is something that I discovered in the Rogue One source book when I was studying for the Schmodown.
Okay.
Now, you know our good boy, Dr. Cornelius Evison. He is, I have the death, sentence in 12 systems.
Sure.
Do you know why he has the death sentence in 12 systems?
I assume he killed some people and did some bad stuff.
So what he does is he kidnaps people, chops off the top of their head, including their brain, and replaces it with droid parts, and then sells you to someone as a human droid.
What?
Those are the decraniated. And there's a couple walking around in Rogue One on Jeddah, and it's horrifying to look at.
Huh.
It's just people, which is like a lady with no top of the head. And, there's also a couple on...
So this is, worse than, Lobot.
This is terrible. This is way worse than Lobot. Lobot is, sweet, I bet you get some dates. He's a good-looking dude. This lady has no eyes. They have, a sensor. And they don't have, the top of a droid head. They have no top of the head.
Okay.
The decraniated.
So they're just flat?
Yeah. It sucks. There's a couple of them on the First Light Dryden Voss's yacht and Solo as well.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, it's, Evison sucks. And Ponda Bomb, I judge him for hanging out with him.
So he is a doctor.
He's a doctor.
Huh. No, I've not heard that. I don't think we've ever talked about it. Out of all the times we've talked about things, and that could have came up, and you didn't bring it up. I'm so glad we talked about scary stuff, and you just came up.
Close to the vest in
just
case.
For this. Just
no,
for this.
Because when you... This is a Schmodown thing. I talked about this with other Schmodown Star Wars contestants. You want an opportunity to say your craziest trivia that you have in your head. But when you talk about it, then people are going to remember it. So you want to keep that for whenever the guy that writes the questions comes across that.
Ain't no one's going to write about decraniated people.
Yeah. So you don't talk about that much. But the decraniated are terrible. And they're in both Rogue One and Solo. And it's under the radar.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we get him in A New Hope, and then retroactively...
Here's a picture.
We go back. So that's what he did. That's illegal.
Yes. Yeah. What do you mean? Yes. Her head's gone. This is illegal.
I don't know the story of that. That was just some thing, Maybe it's hey, you know what? This is an upgrade. Maybe you know what? This person died, and I want to keep their body around. I don't know.
He is a slaver that just cuts everything out of you that is independent.
Okay.
Yeah. He's terrible. And you know how you watch Rogue One, you're like, hey, it's Dr. Evison upon the Bamba. Hey, I see him there. You know what they're there for? Real bad shit.
They're decraniated.
Yeah, they're there to wipe up what's left of Jeddah.
So one guy's going and kidnapping people, and then he's doing the surgeries. That's what you're doing.
Yeah,
he's involved.
Imagine if they got Luke.
I'm glad they cut off his arm.
There. They might have done that to Luke.
Huh?
Yeah. Scary stuff, man. The unknown.
He wouldn't even need a blast shield down then.
He wouldn't be able to put it on his head.
Yeah, interesting.
It'd be over his mouth.
All right.
Yep.
That is a scary thing.
Yep.
I did not know that.
There you go.
All right. Hey, there's that serial killer plain sight thing every time.
Yes, there is. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, she didn't volunteer for it, Aaron.
I was just wondering. I don't know. Whenever you see things, I'm like, that guy looks weird. But you know what? I don't know why he has a fish bowl on his head or anything. Sure. I don't know what's going on. Why is that guy in the cantina wearing an astronaut suit? I don't know. Maybe he just likes it.
I imagine Lobot, is kind because you can send messages to him. He'll get a text and be like, oh shit, I got a text, and he'll but he still feels like he does stuff. He doesn't feel like he's a slave that is programmed like what Dr. Evison does.
No, he doesn't.
At least I hope not, because he's sweet.
Okay. All right. Though I did hear about some terrible things that originally happened to Lobot after Empire.
Oh yeah.
In some older things where he goes and he helps Lando, but he gets captured and I think it was a comic or something like that. I think it's Legends, where he's hooked up to a whole bunch of wires. It really gave me an Echo feel of they took him and hooked him up and were doing things with him that. And that's pretty crazy. All right. My next one is the one that I don't think you're gonna have on your list. This is the one I'm any of these could be on the list. Spiders, wampas, maul spiders.
I have one that I didn't think you'd have on your list.
Oh yeah, with decraniating?
No, you could have looked that up.
I could have. I wouldn't have typed it in.
Okay, where's yours? I'll say where mine's from.
Mine's from A New Hope.
Mine's from the High Republic. Okay, go ahead.
Yours might be. I have like 3 honorable mentions.
Uh-huh.
Mine's from A New Hope, and it is Leia's interrogation.
The ITO droid.
I hate that droid. I hate it all the time, and I'm glad they cut away and shut the door. You know, like it's kind of in the same sense. Like I can watch Han get shocked and whatnot when he's getting like tortured and that stuff. Yeah,
yeah. Okay. You can watch that.
Like the scream's great. I hate that droid comes, and I hate anytime that droid shows up.
You don't even see it go in the skin.
I know, I don't. But like that's a scary. Like if I was there, and one, you're we're gonna figure this out, and you're gonna talk, and you're gonna tell us stuff.
Yeah.
And to do that, we're gonna inject you with a giant needle. It's such a big needle too.
It's so big, and it's floating on a basketball.
Yeah.
Like
it's
if I
this.
punch that thing, that's going flying. You know?
Yeah. How steady is it?
I don't think it's that steady.
You know, I don't want it. I don't want
if Vader
it.
accidentally like hit it, it would like hit against the wall and then stab a stormtrooper in the back of the neck.
I always think that George Lucas cut away and shut the door, and we don't get to see what happens in there because I did not want to see
good
it.
Stuff, man.
Because we talk about like people being afraid of spiders. Like this is that thing. This is for me, and I didn't put it all the way to the top because I'm like, well, this is my fear.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have your, I'm gonna get eaten or get stuck in a cave. Like this one's mine. But I'm like, okay, there's scarier things I think for more general people.
Sure.
I don't think this is that scary for most people.
Agreed.
But it's my number 5.
Yeah, that's a good one. So mine is it's from the High Republic. I think it's from Rising Storm. And part of what I think makes good horror or good scariness, at least for me, because again, like I don't get like really scared when I watch something, but if a character is afraid, like I can really relate to that, you know, like as long as like the characters feel it, I don't need, it doesn't matter if it scares me, I can empathize with this person, you know. And I don't remember what the name of the thing is, but like whatever that thing is at the end of Rising Storm that appears and just like drives Force users crazy, like that thing, like we don't even know about it yet.
Sure.
But like that, reading that and understanding what the Great Leveler, that's what they called it in there, yeah. But like what the characters describe was so overwhelming and something I wasn't feeling, you know.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, this is what I'm feeling though, and these characters are like the most heroic and brave characters that appear in the thing, and then they're utterly terrified by this eldritch horror, you know.
Yeah, whatever this thing is.
And I said before, like sometimes I think things are scarier when I don't know what they are yet, when it hasn't been explained. Right now, as someone that's just read The Rising Storm, I'm terrified of that thing. I don't want to see it again. I don't want it to go around any of the characters that I love. You know,
keep it away.
Yeah, I have true fear in my ignorance of it.
Sure.
So I'm kind of relishing of like where I am right now. As soon as I read the next thing and understand that more, I'm sure it'll be less terrifying. But right now, it's very terrifying.
Sure. Like the Death Star, I understand what it does. Let's go blow it up, get rid of it. But
like
that thing, I don't know what it is. I don't understand what it does.
It made Elzar Mann like mess up. Yeah. That dude doesn't mess up.
No.
So that's definitely one of them for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a really good one. It's a scary moment. It's a especially for us right now. It is a not understanding what exactly this terrifying creature thing is, because we have this one. We have an image of what it looked like from when we did the book, and it's a scary looking eldritch monster thing. And I don't know how it works or what it does, but
like even like the image, like, the image
horror.
Is scary. But what was scary for me was because you're reading a novel, you're inside characters' heads all the time. This thing invaded their heads, you know, and that's always scary. Much like Chewbacca in
the Life Day in the book. Yeah.
I did have one honorable mention. I don't find it scary as much as I do like incredibly sad and just hard to think about. Is Dr. Gorst from Andor. He's an Imperial doctor, and he talks about how he has the Dizonite people.
Okay.
They are like a very choral, musical people, and he recorded when the Empire completely destroyed their planet. He recorded clips of their children pleading for their lives before they died. And he then uses that as psychological torture to torture other people that aren't even part of that species. It's just the sound is so sad, so heartbreaking, and so horrifying. You can just listen to that and it'll crack you. That's terrifying. And while I don't necessarily think of it as scary in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Just like someone thought that up.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just Dr. Gorse is a terrifying person to think that was a good idea. So he's my honorable mention on my scary list. Like in terms of like, you know, what can that doctor himself do? Palpatine can do a lot. The Leveler can do a lot. You know, the Wampa can do a lot. But Dr. Gorse is on my list, at least honorable mention for how terrible of an idea he had.
That
is extremely
it's a terrible idea. I hate that. I wouldn't even record that.
Yeah. And it's his tone of voice. He's like so proud and like happy that he's like, I do science.
I'll go with my next one for Rebels.
Okay.
Which is I don't remember the exact episode. I should have wrote it down, but it is the Nightsister spirits. When we go in and they're doing like possession and they're attacking, and it's all about like trying to protect. I think it's Kanan and Sabine.
Yeah.
And then Ezra's also in there too. I just think that the Nightsisters in general are scary.
Yeah.
I think like I think it would be really scary to fight a whole bunch of undead Nightsisters. But I really like when they showed up because it was Grievous, and I wanted them to win, you know? Yeah. Like, there's so many things that, like, Mother Talzin does, and it's just, like, scary and witchy and stuff, too. But this is them as, like, spirits. Like, I thought about also, like, when Talzin pops out your chest and is giving you boils and stuff, too. And
I get you.
That would be terrifying and stuff, too, you know? Yeah. But, like, I have to wrong them. This is, like, I've wandered into this location with, like, another guy, and now these sisters are going to possess my friends and try to escape and stuff, you know? And I thought was a terrifying thought and a terrifying moment. I like that. And also, like I said, I was wanting to also look at, like, what's everything done there? What's scary from everywhere, you know?
That's a good one. I like that.
And I wanted Nightsisters somewhere. I just didn't know what Nightsisters I wanted.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, I'm out of my options.
Are you?
I've done all mine. I also have. It should be scary, but it's not to me because we ruined it. Borglet.
Melanie, I talked to Melanie about this because, like, who knows scary Star Wars? I'm going to ask Melanie, what scared you in Star Wars? And she brought up that, which I'm like, man, you know, it should be because it's what it does to your mind and stuff, and the creatures just...
What it did to the pilot. Like, he was never the same after Borglet, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, no, that one should have been, but it didn't make my list either.
I have too much pleasure going Borglet with you guys. And then Calvin went up to the actor and was like,
write this.
Yeah, what's your favorite? What you want me to write?
What quote do you want me to write?
Can you write Borglet? Borglet? Borglet. Okay, I'll write Borglet.
It's like
Forrest Whitaker's so cool.
Man, you said Borglet.
Yeah. Cool. Borglet. I wrote Borglet. Forrest Whitaker.
Well, my last, I have, what? You said this one.
Yeah.
So I have my honorable mentions in my last two.
Okay, yeah.
I guess I can mention real quick.
Yeah.
But we already mentioned this one too, which was the Ahsoka Death Trooper rising thing. I just considered it like Death Trooper kind of thing.
Death Troopers, yeah.
Them rising. Like, I think it's Sabine who's, like, just shooting one in the face and it just keeps coming after her. And I'm like, that would be a terrifying moment there of, like, we beat them all and they got back up.
Yeah. Yep. It's a good one.
The Mind Worms from Clone Wars was another one. So, honestly, both of these ones are really Death Trooper-y.
Yeah, very much
for the most part. I don't know if it's so much the Obi-Wan one when they're down in Geonosis and you see what's happening with it, or if it's, I think, more so the Ahsoka one when she's stuck on that one ship and it's just her and... Barriss. And it's the clones getting taken over. Sure. And that moment there, I think, is like, we're trying to survive on a ship. You're seeing clones. Like, this clone is no good, and you watch him get taken over, and then he's not himself anymore. And just, like, losing you. And then now it's like, I'm trying to fight and save you, but I don't know what to do. Like, those things, I think, is a scary moment there.
It definitely has some moments of being scared, especially, like, down in the crypts, like when you have the Geonosian zombies. Like, that's pretty scary. There's always a part of me that just always, like, enjoys it so much because it's a good excuse to have, like, you know, Barriss and Ahsoka fight.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. But then eventually we won't need that excuse anymore.
Yeah. And then the last things I have, I was more so looking because I didn't know what things you'd have and if we'd have a lot of overlap and stuff too. But I guess my honorable mentions were Return of the Jedi with the Rancor, especially, like, working the same way with the Wampa, whenever you drop the Twi'lek down in and you just hear the screams and stuff and you never get to see what happens.
I hate the inside of the Rancor's mouth because it's just, like, you can't, like, see the hole. It's still, like, it's like a crocodile. It's like the only way you're going down there is if it's, like, you get forced down, you know?
It's to push you into it.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Phantom Menace, the Bombo breaking, and monster's back.
Yeah.
Just being down in there, like stuck. Like that was one of Melanie's things. She's like, that would be terrifying to be in a sub, being stuck in the dark. You can't see. You know,
there's always a bigger fish. It's scary. I mean, it's fun to watch, but it would be horrifying to experience.
I would be so scared.
Yeah.
Like they're Jedi. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's like, we do this stuff all the time.
It is the destiny of a Jedi to confront fear. I get it.
Yeah. But
I
would not want to
never coming back to Naboo.
Yeah. It's like, this is one of those things like,
Yeah.
you know, why don't you go through the planet core? Like, look at all this stuff.
Yeah. You know,
This
like
is
they
why.
go out to Lake Country and it's like beautiful and, you know, freaking Padme's like, oh, we used to swim out to this island and lay in the sand. I'm like, you swam?
Do you know what's in the water?
Naboo?
Do you know what's in the water?
Do you know what's there? You fool.
And then my last one is the only one I have from a book, which was the Drengir.
Ah, High Republic Drengir. Meat.
Yeah. Which I think, like, just...
I thought of them when I was thinking of the Leveler.
I don't know if I have a specific moment per se of that, but like maybe even one of the first times we meet them and stuff too, and trying to get an idea of who they are. But like they're just a scary creature, you know. Like I hate like they just want to eat. They keep coming back, you know. Like you have to kill them so specifically. Yeah. Most things are not like that, and this is so. Yeah. I think they're one of the scarier things in Star Wars too.
I think it's a good one. What would you say? Are you through your list?
That's everything on my list.
So, like, now that you've talked through everything and that type of thing, do you have, like, this is my number one, or is it still where you started?
Originally, I put the mind worms at my number one.
Yeah.
Just because, like losing yourself, like being taken over by something else, whether you're killed or not, like, if you can be saved, that's great, but, like, if you can, I think what's worse is like if you can realize what's going on, but you have no control of it. I think that's a really terrifying thing.
Yeah.
But if you're not, and you're like, Ahsoka's fighting so much of like, do I kill these people? Do I not kill these people? What do I do? But they just keep spreading and taking over and adding more worms, and it's just, I think that's a real scary element of it.
Yeah.
And needles.
The ITO droid.
Don't like it.
All right. I think mine. Now that I'm looking through all my lists again. Considering yours, I mean, the Andor Dr. Gore stuff is horrifying, but
that's terrible.
Decraniated
is awful
for me. Yeah.
If I was getting kidnapped and my head was getting cut off and turned into a robot, I would hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't because I would be dead, but I would hate it before, maybe during if I have any.
And that's the thing, like
memory.
They are effectively dead, but they're not.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you have a relative that's brain dead. It's like, oh, it sucks. So I can pull the plug. It's like, or you could sell me their body and I'll turn them into a willing slave. No, thanks, Doc.
Let's not do that.
I only got 10 death sentences. I'm fine.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm giving you 2 more.
All
right.
Well, that's some of our scariest things that we've found in Star Wars, guys. I do want to mention Jorge here.
Yeah.
With $5 said the scariest thing in my opinion is Battlefront 2's Ewok hunt. Makes me feel sorry for the stormtroopers. Also Ewok hunt Scream stream. It is fun and kind of scary.
It is, but it's so in contrast to how fun it is to be the Ewoks.
Yeah,
in that game mode.
But when you're the stormtroopers, it's kind of scary.
It's kind of scary,
know?
dude. Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, we have to remember the Ewoks were going to eat Luke and Han and Chewie.
Mm-hmm.
And R2.
I don't know what was going on.
Anyway, they were going to eat him. They weren't going to eat Leia, and they weren't going to eat 3PO. So if we accept that as fact, which it is, and we know that at the end of the Battle of Endor, there are
tons of empty helmets,
hundreds or thousands of dead stormtroopers, and yes, we see their empty helmets. They make a satisfying noise when you touch it. It means their head's not in there. What happened to those heads, Aaron? What happened to those bodies, Aaron? Do you think the Ewoks just throw food away? I don't think so.
Well, they were like,
I think that they beat the Empire and ate their corpses.
What if they just picked up? You know, this would make a real good drum. You know,
I mean,
like in Fortnite,
I respect that.
In Fortnite, the drum has helmets on it.
Yeah,
like
and
in the Star Wars drum.
You know when the best time the drum is after you're done eating the forearm. You know, I don't because those Ewoks they eat you, and that's scary, and they're cute too. I don't want cute things eating me.
That'd be the worst thing.
Yeah. Like little baby Ewok comes out, starts eating you too.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right.